And now to comparative analysis of Tier 1 banks' earnings, or you can call them FUGAZ, F-U-G-A-Z. F being First Bank, then U being United Bank for Africa, G being GTCO, A being Access Corporation, and Z being Zenith. Well, we'll start with the turnover for 2022 and 2021. United Bank for Africa starts at 607.978 billion naira. That was in 2022. And then in 2021, 492.354 billion naira. The percentage changed to 23.48. For Guarantee Trust, we had 364.307 billion naira in 2022, and in 2021, 318.508 billion naira. The percentage change 14.38. For Zenith Bank, 620.574 billion naira in 2022, and in 2021, 518.673 billion naira. The percentage change there, 19.65. For FBN Holdings, 547.240 billion naira in 2022, and in 2021, 432.617 billion naira. The percentage change, 26.50. For Access Corporation, 906.817 billion naira. That's close to a trillion. And then in 2021, 695.693 billion naira. The percentage change there being 30.35. Mukhtar, if you can hear me, I'd like you to talk about this. And I'm also looking at the turnover, for Access Corporation. To what do they owe this performance?
I think their expansion program is working well, and also I think they are doing more of not so much about private banking that we know Access to be now to be before, especially after their merger with Diamond Bank. So they've take off from there. And they are doing well in terms of turnover. They are expanding not only in Nigeria and also across Africa. They are also going into other African countries and not just opening new branches, but buying over some of those banks that are there. I think the retail banking arm of Access Bank seems to be what is giving them the edge all over other banks. Remember that Diamond used to be king when it comes to retail banking, and most of the staffs are retained by Access Bank. So I'm not surprised what I'm seeing from Access, especially in the area of turnover.
All right. Very quickly, let's have your thought.
Well, looking at the table, one would just say numbers don't lie.
Yeah.
Okay, so one would just say, looking at this table alone and using this turnover, one would say, well, investors invest in Access Corporation because, that is what the figures are saying. But again, that's why I like some of this technical analysis. They will say, no, you don't only look at
the top line.
Yeah, the top line. You have to look at other variables involved. Yes, but again, I must say that you call them Tier 1 banks. But I'm beginning to ask myself, what is really a Tier 1 bank? What is the criteria you must meet for you to qualify to be in this club? Because we want other banks to get to this level. Yes, they've all done quite well. And of course, the turnover is quite encouraging. For me, especially if you look at Access Bank, close to a trillion naira as turnover. It shows that the asset they have deployed, is really working for them. But again, it's when we begin to move down, we will see whether it has been used properly, or maybe it is too early to give them some time. Yes,
okay.
We'll give them some time.
I don't want us to delve into that now because we need to see all the other numbers before we talk about that. But press for time, I would have loved to have your opinion. Let's look at profit after tax now. For United Bank for Africa, that's UBA, 116.042 billion naira in 2022. And in 2021, 104.597 billion naira. The percentage change there, 10.94. For Guarantee Trust, 130.348 billion naira in 2022, and in 2021, 129.400 billion naira. The percentage changed to 0.73. I'm wondering why. Well, Zenith Bank 2022, 174.331 billion naira. In 2021, 160.584 billion naira. The percentage changed to 8.56. For FBN Holdings, 91.202 billion naira for FBN Holdings, and then in 2021, 40.791 billion naira. The percentage changed to 123.58. And then for Access Corporation, from 900 and something billion, now we're having 137.154 billion naira. And in 2021, 122.151 billion naira. The percentage changed 12.28. I think I really like Ambrose to talk to us about this.
Actually, every investor interested in the world in profit after tax, after your top line, which most of the banks we have just mentioned, beat expectation in terms of growing their top line more than 20%. Fine, but come back home to the bottom line. That is where you and I as an investor are interested. We want to see what comes to us, because it is this that will determine either the earning per share, which will define the dividend we're going to pay at the end of the day. Now, we have seen from the table that Zenith Bank is outstanding, having about 174 billion as a profit after tax. Yes, this bank has sustained this kind of growth for the past 7 years as the most profitable bank in Nigeria, shows that they have capacity in terms of profit after tax. But if you look at the top line from, as we just mentioned, from Access Bank, about almost a trillion, that bank is entering another realm. No bank in Nigeria have hit such a gross earnings. With time, at the end of this financial year, they will cross a trillion, and that means they've joined another club entirely. But that shows investors that there's future for this kind of bank, because if your top line is going, it's a matter of time, because they are expanding. You can see that even they come back to have a holding company, not only expanding, they're investing in order of their subsidiary to support the bottom line at the end of the day. That means in the future, this is a bank for the future for what? For assets. But for dividend payment, as we speak now, Zenith Bank, GT Code, UBA, assets are good, but we are seeing a kind of a fantastic growth in FBN holding. But in the history of FBN holding, their dividend payout has been low because of what? Before now, they've been in a corner because of a high non-performing loan. But I'm surprised and happy that as at the last result they've gone down to a good level, about around 6 point something, almost 5, so that they're well managed now. I believe that going to the future, they improve their payout. But knowing that it's under well-regulated sector, before you can start seeing an impressive dividend payout from FBN holding, that will take time, because CBN will not just approve your payment to start paying. They need to look at your book again. But it's good that they are not performing loan is dropping. For investors, these banks can show where they are going. And don't forget also the policy that is on now is favoring the bank. Now, yes, we said there's a kind of headwinds here and there. Costs have been also have risen now. We have seen them impacting in this PAT. But because of continuous increase in interest rates or NPR, the banks are not benefiting from it. Though remember, at May, when the first adjustment was about almost 150%, 150 basic point. Now look at the Q2 number that came. They were able to pay into dividend. They sustained their payout. Now they've done almost like another 300 basic points, because from that 150, we have seen 100 and also another 150, another 100 again. That means the banks are the one going to benefit, because as they are adjusting their interest rate, after 2 days, banks are calling their customer, this is the new rate. You have to just increase your payment. And the banks are sitting at the back making money, and that will understand that banks make money through what? Through interest. And this is what is happening. And at the same time, the economy is also recovering. We are not entering a decline state already. As the economy is also recovering, it's also going to impact, because banks is the engine driver of any economy. If the economy is doing well, it will reflect on the bank. And don't forget that crude oil prices have not gone bad. As well as crude oil price is also high, the banks also benefit from, because banks are highly exposed to that sector. Now they are doing well, banks are a bit comfortable, but it is when they start coming down, the banks will start shifting. But now they are doing well, I think they also support the banking sector result.
All right, very quickly, before we go to the earnings per share, Mukhtar, I'd like you to just say something in less than a minute, maybe 30 to 45 seconds. Mukhtar, if you can hear me, please. All right, let's move on to the earnings per share then. We're looking at United Bank for Africa first, 3 naira 39 kobo. For Guarantee Trust, we have 4 naira 43 kobo. For Zenith Bank, 5 naira 55 kobo. For FBN Holdings, 2 naira 54 kobo. For Access, we have 3 naira 86 kobo. Well, Charles, let's have your take on this.
Well, again, looking at the table, yes, I will agree with both Ambrose and Mukhtar when it comes to earnings per share, because as an investor, it's what comes into your pocket that really matters to you, because you have given people your funds to do their business, and at the end you want to get some return. So this earnings per share will show how much they can give out. But again, it also depends on the policy, the payout policy of that company. But looking at this table now, one can just say, oh, Zenith Bank is the bank to be, because the earnings per share is the highest there. 5.55. At the same time, what if they decide to say, no, our payout ratio is this? But of course, the investors will be the ones that will approve. But the investors cannot increase what they are being paid to. But they can just approve it. So you can see the dilemma there. So everything for me still depends on the management board of Zenith Bank. But earnings per share is good. I mean, once I see it, it's positive, it's okay.
Yeah.
An investor will be comfortable that, yes, that means this company can authoritatively pay something out, no matter how small. But I must also tell investors that if you factor in terms of the environmental cost that is involved, these figures you are seeing here, if we discount it, might not be up to this. But we'll use this as a guide and say, okay. But if you look at all the companies there, all the banks there, I think they are not done bad at all.
Okay.
They are all, operating in this our economy. So it's like the banks, like Ambrose have said, the economic policy is just favoring the banks. Of course, we are saying it clearly. Not only the increase in the interest rate, there are other little charges here and there that the banks are even making this, but we are not even aware of.
Well, very quickly. Yeah, very quickly. Let's move on to the profit margin. Now we're going very far into the profit margin now. For profit margin, United Bank for Africa, that's UBA, 19.09. For Guarantee Trust, 35.78%. For Zenith Bank, 28.09%. For FBN Holdings, 16.67%. And then for Access Corporation, 15.12%. Mukhtar, talk to us about this, the profit margin.
For me, if you look at the profit margin, you see that's what Mr. Charles was saying. You begin to say, okay, Guaranteed Trust Bank should be where you should be in terms of the profit margin. But like I said before, and I always say that Mr. Charles have said it, and just like me and Ambrose always say, profit margin it itself does not translate to earning per share, good earning per share, then it doesn't make any sense. But we must commend the banks in a tight economy like this, in with the kind of economy that we've been running since ever this administration come in. The bank.
All right, thank you so much. I think this is a good place to end the conversation. Thank you so much for coming on the show, Charles Fakroha.
Thank you very much. Let us be environmentally conscious.
Okay, we know that. And Ambrose, thank you so much for your thoughts on the show and for making it to the studio. I mean, it was quite difficult getting down here, but thank you so much for making it to the studio.
Thank you to both. I would say investors should look at this banking sector. These are the most consistent sector in our market that pay good dividend. That means you should look at the banks. They will pay dividend because I'm sure they are more liquid than any other company. They will pay good dividend.
I agree with that.
All right, Mukhtar, thank you so much for joining us on the show today.
My pleasure. Thank you.
All right, many thanks to you for joining us today. My name is Perpetua Fasomi Peter. Do enjoy the rest of the day and have a wonderful weekend. Bye for now.